The world held its breath the night Draven Negru was born. A cold mist rolled down from the iron peaks, swallowing the valley in a silence so deep that even the wolves stopped their howling. Clouds gathered like mourning shrouds, heavy and unmoving, smothering the sky until only a single fracture of red light escaped through them. The crimson moon, rare, feared, and spoken of only in old chants, hung buried behind the storm, its glow muted yet unmistakable. A blood-red halo seeped through the clouds, staining the earth in a shade that did not belong to mortal night. Far beyond the valley, across forests and rivers untouched by human hands, the lakes of distant lands began to shimmer under the crimson glow. Their surfaces rippled with light like liquid fire. Fish rose from the depths and pressed their eyes toward the sky. Birds woke from their roosts and trembled. Even the ancient trees, older than carved stone, seemed to lean toward the moon as though bracing for something forgotten. The elders of Vaskara whispered that such nights were warnings, that when the moon bled, gods remembered, that shadows grew restless in their ancient prisons, and that somewhere, someone would be marked. Inside the Negru Manor, the air was thick with the scent of smoke and herbs. Torches burned low, their flames struggling against the cold drafts that slipped through the stone. Servants moved with hushed urgency, their footsteps echoing in long corridors that had once known laughter but now held only grief. A scream broke the silence, then another. A midwife hurried down the hallway and pushed open the door to the birthing chamber. Within, Lady Negru lay pale and trembling, fingers clawing at the blanket, her breath shallow and ragged. Her husband knelt beside her, hands shaking, whispering prayers to gods who had long since abandoned him. The midwife froze. The room was dim, lit only by a thin line of moonlight that forced its way through the shutters. But that light, it was red, as if someone outside had split open the sky. The midwife's voice faltered. "The moon. It bleeds tonight." No one answered her. Another cry tore from Lady Negru's throat, a final, desperate one. And then, a sound that should have followed never came. No newborn wail, no breath of life, only silence. But the moonlight brightened. A single beam of crimson cut through the shutters and bathed the infant in a ghostly glow. The midwife drew near with trembling hands. She expected stillness, but the child's chest rose, softly, carefully, as though breathing for the very first time was a decision rather than instinct. The baby's eyes opened, and the midwife gasped. Not because they were red, they weren't, not yet, but because they were calm, impossibly calm, staring up at her as though he understood something he had no right to know, as though the world had been waiting for him. Outside, thunder rumbled without rain. The crimson moon burned through the clouds, and far away, in a realm where no mortal walked, something ancient stirred. A whisper drifted across the veil, unheard by all but the newborn. At last. Thus began the life of Draven Negru, born under a bleeding sky on a night when gods turned their eyes toward the world once more.